Alright, well, welcome back to another Mr. Smiling Monster video. This is some gameplay from Solo I played earlier today. I wanted to show some people how easy it is to get set up when you are playing Solo to make it to them far rounds. However, there are some screw-ups that happen. As you can tell from the title, the Rise and Epic Fail. I end up getting perfectly set up. When I go to pack-a-punch my weapons, you'll see that I have one of the most epic fails that happens to me far too often. At first, you see that I couldn't find any of the parts to Tramplestein, and the Tramplestein does help out a lot with the minions, especially if you're wanting to get set up with the Liquefier. We're going to find all them parts. One of the Liquefier parts is right in this washroom, right on the table. Unfortunately, in theater, you can't see the parts until I pick them up. And then we're gonna, since we didn't find any Tramplestein parts, we're gonna go ahead and pick that up and take it with us. You can go in and turn on the power, check in the power room for a couple more parts. There's usually a couple parts in there if they're not downstairs. I end up finding what I believe is a fire extinguisher. You can't see it, but it's on that table, which helps me out later on. I know where it is. I don't have to go searching for it. So now I'm only looking for two more parts, one of which I know where it's at. The foot is always in the same spot. It's right past that couch up the stairs by the TV on the floor. Now we're waiting on the elevator to take us up, and we're going to go get the parts to the Tramplestein. And we're also going to get the Bowie knife. It's very good to have the Bowie knife when playing solo. Helps out with the minions. Solo or co-op, it's good to have the Bowie knife. Co-op, you can probably survive with just the Tramplesteins. You don't want to shoot the minions unless you have something that will never miss or you're perfectly accurate, which almost no one is perfectly accurate. We're going to sit here and wait on the quick revive elevator, and we're going to take it up. All the Tramplestein parts will be either in the spawn room or this room that I'm taking you to upstairs. Just getting set up takes a little time, but after that you'll fly through the rounds real quick, especially if you have this Liquefier. It just destroys waves and waves of zombies. You want to make sure you got your persistent jug. It'll help out in these early rounds. Makes it a lot easier to get the Bowie knife because you don't have to buy a gun for a long time as long as you have persistent jug. I would get a gun as soon as you can after you get the Bowie knife though. And we finally get the quick revive down to us. We gotta wait for it to go down one more time. Gonna try and keep this zombie alive. We don't want him getting on the elevator and getting crushed. Once you get to, I believe it's round 4, they start running, and it's just not very easy to put parts together when they're running and you don't have anything. It's also it's not very easy to survive. I'm not saying that you can't, but it's not very easy to survive without the Bowie knife at round 4. And we got the quick revive down, but we're still trying to keep that zombie alive and behind the door so he can't get on the elevator. One thing I've noticed, the zombies glitch out on the elevator a lot. You'll see that here in a second. Like they'll either be standing there and just swinging at you but not actually getting close enough to hit you, but they'll just keep on swinging. And I was wondering if that's just me or if that happens to a lot of people. Also, you'll see when I'm putting this Liquefier together, the zombie kind of floats off the elevator. I'm wondering if this is a problem a lot of people are having. It kind of bothers me, especially when I get stuck on the elevator, because the zombie won't move out of the way to where I can get off the elevator. And then I end up dying in the elevator because as soon as I get to a spot where there's no option but to stay on the elevator because it's moving, the zombie's all of a sudden moving too. So if anybody else has that problem, please comment or send me a message and let me know. It's probably something that should be fixed. And sometimes the zombies even just get off the elevator randomly. Like, you don't get off the elevator, but they get off, and they just walk away from you, like right here. I mean, what's that guy doing? He just gets off and he disappears for a little while, and then all of a sudden he's back. So you saw I shuffled the parts over to the elevator just to make it take a little less time. We're going to put the trampoline together. We're going to use it to get back to the Bowie knife because we're not going to need it real soon, considering the minions don't come until at least round 3. And the first time they come, it's just extremely easy with the Bowie knife, and we should have that by round 3. You should almost always have the Bowie knife by round 3. As long as you go about it this way, having the Bowie knife, it's going to be an easy thing to do, and it really does help out. The Galvin knuckles, I've noticed in co-op they don't make a difference with the minions. I guess if you want to save up for the Galvin knuckles and try and just knife the minions, you can do that. I would just suggest getting the Bowie knife though, because going down to the minions or losing that free perk because you end up having to shoot it's not very helpful, especially when you think about what the free perk could be. I like to get the cheap ones that I need, so that if I do get another one I need, it's one of the more expensive ones, and I save up some points, go pack a punch sooner. You just lose so much if you end up missing one of the minions and losing that free perk. Alright, so right now I'm waiting on the elevator to start moving. I'm trying to keep the zombie off the elevator. Like I said, for some reason with me, whenever there's a zombie on the elevator, it seems to lag out. It's not something that just happens every now and then. It seems to happen every single time. Unless there's 3 or 4 zombies on the elevator, that zombie always lags and just stands in one spot swinging, blocking the exit. Alright, we got all our parts. We put the trampoline together. And next we're going to save up for the Bowie knife. The reason I don't get the liquefier first is just because I get bored, and I've spent so much time getting this put together that I don't feel like going and getting this liquefier, and I just want to make sure I have the Bowie knife. I really don't have enough points to do it this round. I would have enough points to do it next round if I just used the elevator, but instead I just save up for the Bowie knife. It's better to have in the early rounds. This liquefier can get you killed pretty easily if you don't use it right. You slide off the edge and die, or you can slide into a herd of zombies and die. You can get trapped in a corner and die. It's a gun that you need to get used to. Use it sparingly. Like if you have a huge horde chasing you, go ahead and shoot the horde with it. He'll end up killing the whole horde. Or if you want to sit at the top of the stairs, like in my co-op strategy video, and just have them sliding down the stairs and killing them off like that. That's one of the ways that people make it to those really high rounds. I would suggest running circles though, because I've noticed that zombies do get through this liquefier now. It's not just holding them down at the bottom of the stairs or wherever you're doing it at. I mean, granted, it's only like 1 or 2 zombies that might get you a little jammed up, especially if they just get through right before this liquefier runs out, and then you gotta pull out another gun or waste a bullet on that zombie. It could get you in a tight spot and end up ending the game for you. However, my fail is even worse than that. It'll probably make you laugh when you get to see it. So right here I'm using up the rest of the bullets of my M1911, trying to rack up enough points by the end of this round. I just wanted to see if it was possible to get the Bowie knife in round 2. I end up figuring out it's pretty much impossible. I'm sure there is a way. If I had used my gun in the first round and maybe gotten a max ammo or some double points. And there my screen went black, so now I need to find my controller. But if I had gotten like a max ammo or some double points, maybe I could have done it. Since I didn't, and most of the time I save my bullets for like if I don't have enough points by round 3. There we go. Then I have bullets to where round 4 comes around, I'm not still knifing them 3 times a piece, because it can get pretty hectic, especially if you get like 4 or 5 zombies on you. Knifing them's not the easiest task. We're going to take out a couple more zombies, and then we'll have enough for our Bowie knife, and we'll get working on the liquefier. Now I find the liquefier is a lot easier to work on, so I don't worry about stopping the rounds to get to it and start building on it. And keep in mind that we put the one part on there that we found in the washroom. We know there's another part in the electric room. We also know there's another part right above the room for this liquefier, the little foot. So all we really need to find is it looks like a hose, one of them hose nozzles, the old ones for gardening hoses. Need to find that, and it can spawn on the stove in this liquefier room in the kitchen there, or it can spawn in the power room where we found the fire extinguisher. So right now we're trying to save a crawler so we can make sure that we get our Bowie knife. As you saw in my co-op strategy, didn't save a crawler, and when I went to get the Bowie knife, I ended up getting myself in trouble. I don't understand why you can't see anything in the theater. I've noticed the lights on the elevators, you don't see them, you don't see wall weapons. It's just, you don't see anything. Alright, so we're moving on to round 4. And we know where the pack-a-punch is. And we know Jugs to our right. And double tap is by the MP5. And quick revive is where quick revive always is. So all we really need to find is Mule Kick. I believe it's over by Dead Man's Corner. It's good to figure out where all your perks are early on so you know where you're going to be running to. You want to be able to plan ahead, keep your calm about you. Now we're going to go ahead and grab this fire extinguisher part off the table, put it on this liquefier. And then we're going to, since we know where the foot is, we're going to go ahead and try and find the other part before going after the foot. Since I already know where it is, if I get in a jam, I know exactly where it is. I can just run and grab it and throw it on there. So I look over here on the stove, and it's not there, but I just did it a quick glance. So I go do a double take later on, and I figure out it is in the power room. Right there is where the foot always spawns. It's always right there. Now I put that on there, and I start thinking I didn't look too great over by the stove, but really I looked good enough. It's not over there. So I wasted a little time, but since I know it's not over there, now I know exactly where it's at. Well, I know it's in the power room, whereas in the power room I don't know like the exact table it's on. I'm not entirely sure if that's the only 2 spawn points, but I know that they that that's where it's always been when I went to look for it. So I'm headed up here to the power room because I'm too lazy to wait on the elevator. Then when I think about it, I'd rather take the elevator, but then I got 2 zombies blocking me, so it seems that they've made my choice that I'm just going to go ahead and buy the door, get my gun put together, and just start working on getting another gun. It's good to use a bullet gun that fires bullets rather than slickfire, because it gets you points, a lot more points. I like to go for the AN-94 because I got to open them doors anyways, so I'll be headed that way. Plus, that's where I like to run circles. Now, I do not use the slickfire when I'm running circles. I only use it when I'm sitting in one spot, because I have had it screw me up a couple times. Where I run circles, I've had it to where I've literally slid off the map on multiple occasions. So normally I use it in that room that I used it on co-op strategy, because that seemed to work for me for the co-op. So now that's where I use it for solo. And you see this zombie lagging out. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is something that I think should be fixed. I mean, sometimes it's not bad, like right here it's not bad. He's not really in my way. He's moving a little bit. And, okay, well, I get my PDW, get all my perks, got my AN-94, I got a bunch of points. I'm ready to go pack a punch. I sit down my trampoline. I see the flag go up and it didn't launch me. And that is my epic fail. As I watched it in theater mode and slowed it down, the flag seems to go up just a little bit before the trampoline's actually ready. And believe it or not, that's like the 3rd time that that's happened to me. So you think I would have learned by now? And I just run straight across. I had to look at it from multiple angles to figure out what went wrong. Right there is the first time I saw it. And then right here's the second time. The flag goes up before it's ready. And that is my epic fail of the day. Thank you for watching. As always, this is Bleeds Black.